last week asking me how I could possibly support a bill that would mandate sex change operations. I can promise you there's no mandate of sex change operations in this legislation. Another big issue is, and I can't say this often enough and loud enough, there is illegal immigrants, undocumented workers are not covered by this legislation. And this is an issue that will be dealt with in immigration reform, comprehensive immigration reform, which I hope we will be able to address, if not at the end of this year. And with healthcare being so predominant, I suspect we're going to do it next year, but the reality is it's not covered here. Whether that's good or bad doesn't matter. It's not covered here. Let me think for anything else. There will be no federal funding of abortion, and this bill does not change that at all. I think those are the misconceptions, and those are the things that people are obsessing about, when I think there's so many other things in this bill that are important. We're going to get something accomplished. We absolutely must. We cannot continue to support our health care system is unsustainable, and we need to do something, and quite candidly, this is about 20 years too late. So we'll get there. I continue to be very grateful for the opportunity that you've given me to represent you. I am very mindful of the fact there's only 435 of us. Many people in Congress, they're just, average citizens that are trying to do their job. We've got some very challenging problems right now. We're going to get through it, and this is what I say when I get down, and when I listen to other people. This nation has had a lot of challenges in the 200-plus years that we've existed. We had a civil war that pulled the very fabric of our nation apart, and we came back and we were stronger for it. We had a World War I, a World War II, a depression. With I can imagine in the depression with 25% unemployment, that the bleakness and the hopelessness and thinking, where is this country? Will it ever get back to where it was? Can we ever do better than this? And then for the last 50 years, we've been going to gangbusters. There are people that are falling through the cracks. They were falling before this economic crisis. But can we not use this as an example and as a way of improving the way we do business and bringing every American citizen into the fold and moving towards a brighter future for everybody? We need better education. We need affordable health care. We need better energy supply. And this is a soapbox of mine. The state of Nevada should be the epicenter of energy in this country. Environmental necessity, unless we want to start choking on our air, we need to get away from fossil fuels. It's an economic imperative. We can turn this economy green and create a whole bunch of jobs that never existed before. And the third thing is it's a national security imperative. The very fact that we have to rely on the Saudis and the Venezuelans and the Nigerians for our energy needs, are we crazy? So let us harness the sun, wind, geothermal, and get on with it. It takes a will, and if we can't do this as Americans, then we're not worthy of the name America.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to pass the mic to Chief
we have a lot of questions about health care, and I'm glad that you started out and getting talked about that. So we have specific questions about health care for women and their reproductive rights. So as a part of health care reform, how are you going to ensure that women will have better access to reproductive health care?
That's a great question. Are you talking about unwanted pregnancy?
Okay. Look, I don't think it's a secret that, that's not a brilliant notion on my part. If you're a woman, head of household, and we've got a large preponderance of unmarried women with children, or at one time they may have been married, but they're single women working full-time and raising their children, usually alone. If you get sick, your whole family disintegrates. It is a major problem, and by extending health care to all Americans and making health insurance affordable for everybody, that problem will take care of itself because people will have access to a doctor, women will have access to a doctor, and be able to get the best possible care. Now, if you need a more specific answer, Max, is there anything in there that specifically addresses this? Too much information.
There's nothing in the bill to prohibit any of these benefits. It's up to the Benefits Advisory Council to come up with a recommended benefit, which would then be included in all of the health and private.
And let me say this, if you have my commitment, when we are, the Secretary of Health, HHS, is going to be making these decisions, I'll weigh in and make sure that this is paramount on her mind. If she's a woman, she should know what you know. That's what I'm
So, generally speaking, why do we need to rush this bill through? It's so important that we should be more aggressive in getting it right than just passing it through.
You know what, I don't need the mic. 100% right. We're going to have one bite at the apple. We better do it well, and that's why I was part of the group that did not want to pass anything before we came in the August break. Let's take a step back, take a deep breath, and let's make this right because we're not going to have a chance to do this again. So let's exactly right. Take our time, do it right.
Okay, in reference to education, so we're switching gears here a little bit. The stimulus bill designated funds to Title I schools for programs to improve the learning gap. Clark County School District has recently designated 8 additional schools as Title I to take funding. What can you do to help our Title I schools?
Well, we were able to
68. Sorry.
Oh, thank you. All right. As I mentioned, Yvette asked me this question earlier when I spoke to her. Let me tell you exactly what was in the stimulus package for education. Number one, as I mentioned before, the $400 million for fiscal stabilization, which then funding for the teachers that were going to be laid off so that they can continue educating our kids. We restored a good deal of the money that the legislature slashed. Number two, $70 million in special education funding for the state of Nevada. Number three, and this goes to your question, $70 million in Title I funding for Nevada. These are our disadvantaged students and our at-risk schools. There was an additional $70 million. Now, listen, I mean, I think we could spend twice as much and still not take care of the problem, but an additional $70 million was a very, very good start. And for those of our children that go to college and are eligible for Pell Grants, now, you all know my story. My dad was a waiter when I was growing up. My mother was a stay-at-home mom. I was everything from an outdoor girl to a cocktail waitress, but I was in going to school. And a Pell Grant with an extra $500 a year, that's an important thing for our kids. 32,000 Nevada students that are going to college are going to get that Pell Grant.